Hello, I'm Gordon McMullan, and I'm here to introduce Henry VIII, or All is True as it seems to have been known when it was first performed, for the Shakespeare 2020 project. This play was responsible for burning down the Globe Theatre. During one of its first performances in June 1613, a cannon went off as scripted to announce the King's arrival at Cardinal Wolsey's party. But on this occasion, the blank charge landed in the thatch and quite literally brought the house down. So you might expect it to be pretty unpopular with actors and directors. And a glance at the list of Shakespeare productions over the last decade or five would seem to confirm this. Yet a bit over a century ago, the play was massively popular. It was absolutely huge. One of the plays, along with Julius Caesar, Henry V, and Macbeth, that seemed to have worked especially well for the spectacular theatre production style of the late Victorian stage. Epic productions with vast sets and hundreds of extras, the cast arrayed in picture-perfect medieval or early modern costume, the full Holbein in the case of Henry VIII, the roles camped up larger than life, almost at times to farce. When this style of theatre went out of fashion in the wake of the First World War, Henry VIII faded with it, and it tended only to get revived in the 20th century on the occasion of royal weddings or other events that seemed to call for pomp and processions and a lot of theatrical bling. Yet I've also seen the play done superbly in a tiny studio theatre in modern dress, in a production that made me realise several things at once. That this is a play with real focus that can be hidden by a large-scale production. That this is a deeply political play that benefits from the audience's eavesdropping on the plotting and the backstabbing and the wry commentary given throughout by a couple of maliciously gossipy gentlemen. That this is a play that does complex things with class hierarchies and with gender identities, not least that of the hopeless king of the title of the play in the first folio, if not when it was first performed, who is anything but the macho character he likes to think he is. That he is a serial harasser is clear enough in the play, and of course the audience knows he'll make his way through a lot more wives in the fullness of time, though we see only two, Catherine of Aragon and Anne Boleyn, in the play itself. Much that works so well about this play is the games it plays with the audience's knowledge of events that the play doesn't show. It ends with the christening of the baby Elizabeth I, but we also hear Catherine hoping for good things for her daughter Mary, which is not exactly how it worked out. We also meet Cranmer, the Archbishop, whom Mary will send to the stake, who speaks the grand finale speech of the play, with its future-oriented politics eliding, or trying to elide, the awkwardness of the fact that the king on the throne, when the play was first performed, was the son not of Elizabeth, who remained unmarried and childless, but of her cousin and sworn enemy, Mary Queen of Scots. But a good production doesn't need you to know the history, just as the actors in a good production are best leaving their knowledge of the actual historical figures at the door, because the characters in the play are characters in a play, not in a history book. And the authors, Shakespeare in the last year of his career working in efficient collaboration with the up-and-coming younger playwright John Fletcher, the authors mess with history enough to let you know that external knowledge simply isn't needed. You just need to lose yourself in the whirl of the play. And it is a whirl, both because of its strange, apparently archaic cyclical structure of rises and falls, the fall of Buckingham, the rise of Anne Boleyn, the fall of Catherine, the fall of Wolsey, the rise of Cranmer, and the neither rise nor fall of the obnoxious yet also somehow appealing king. And also because of the play's game playing with the idea of truth and of testimony, which is emphasised in that original title, All is True. Well, no, all isn't true, nor can it be. Because what one character says happened is cancelled by what another character said happened. And in the end, the play is so early modern, it's almost postmodern in its messing with truth and with time. Along the way, there are gems to appreciate. The righteous haughtiness of Queen Catherine, who simply refuses to accept her demotion, and who, despite being the main spokesperson for Roman Catholicism in the play, which you might expect to turn the audience against her, remains the emotional focus of attention and sympathy as she's betrayed and dumped by her spineless royal husband. One of the best productions of the play back in the mid-90s cast a star actress as Catherine, who arrived with her sense of the role fully in place, and so always seemed to be acting in a different production, which actually seemed absolutely right. The hilarious conversation between Anne Boleyn and the old lady courtier, who speaks lines that make it clear that Anne is prepared to behave absolutely any way necessary so as to become queen, and who yet doesn't herself utter a single word that could be held against her. The reappearance of the same old lady to announce the birth of Elizabeth. "Is the Queen delivered?" asks Henry. "Say aye, and of a boy," he demands. She says, "Yes, absolutely, it's a really lovely boy. Well, it's a girl, actually," and he storms off in a rage, forgetting to tip her as he should. The venom of the intrigue between the various aristocrats and venal prelates. The musical grandeur of Cranmer's last great speech, which means nothing to us now, yet works superbly to bring the play to its grand conclusion, while leaving the audience with a sense of deflation that they can't quite put their finger on. You will, I hope, love it all, but you'll need to shelve your natural assumption that it's one of Shakespeare's lesser plays. It's not. It's just a bit different from what we've come to expect from him. And whenever, as you watch it, you sense that there's something a bit odd going on, something a bit jarring, trust that that is exactly what the playwrights wanted you to sense. Henry VIII is a play that richly deserves rediscovery,